Hi, I'm Reagan.
I'm Kai.
And I'm Aislinn.
We are here at the Tiny Marsh to talk to you about bird migration.
Migration is the seasonal movement that birds do to move from an area with low resources to an area with high resources. The two main resources are food and a nesting spot. The birds near here migrate down south to somewhere warmer since it gets cold in Canada winters.
Migrating birds travel about the same speed as we drive, and they can travel up to 16,000 miles. Because birds migrate every year, their path of travel is usually the same. Changes to this route can be detrimental to these birds.
This is us setting up the bird boxes for the bluebirds. We do this because they almost went endangered, so this helps them. In the fall, they fly to South Carolina, and then in the spring, when it gets warm again in Canada, they fly back.
In the spring, when the bluebirds return, the males will then find these bird boxes we have put in place. The male will then build a nest out of sticks, and a female will come along and decide whether or not this is good enough. When she decides this, she will then destroy the nest and rebuild it.
In this video, you see us greasing the pole. We have to do this so the raccoons do not climb up the pole and eat the eggs from the bird boxes. They don't climb up the pole because they really do not like having their hands dirty.
The bluebirds' main competitors are brown-headed nuthatches, Carolina chickadees, and tree swallows. They compete for habitat as they are the same size and can take each other's nesting grounds. Also, the swallows are way more aggressive than the bluebirds and build the same-looking nest as each other. One of the largest threats to migrating birds is the loss or change of habitat. Deforestation, draining of wetlands, urban developments, intense agriculture, and planting of non-native trees are major threats to these migratory birds.
Certain animals like the bovines, like your cows and deer and so on, and buffalo, if you put your scent on them, they could get rejected by the mother because she can smell. Birds have a very poor, most birds, not all birds, most birds have a poor sense of smell. So, and they don't mind being handled. If you handle the little chicks, mother doesn't bother.
What we discovered at the Tiny Marsh is that all of the birds there are really friendly, and they will gladly come up to you and eat out of the palm of your hand.
You clamp to the thing, and you're going to open it up, and there'll be a nest in there. So in the beginning, when you're beginning the monitoring, you're keeping track of the fact that there's a nest. That's the start. The first thing you see is a nest. Then you see some eggs starting to come. The next week you come. This week you come. There's a nest. Next week you come. There's a couple of eggs in it. And then the next week you come. There's perhaps the female is already incubating, or there's 5 eggs there.
As most of us know, clean glass can be very hard for birds to see, which leads them to often crash into windows and buildings. When urban developments pop up on the bird's route, crashing becomes a huge problem. The large buildings shed large amounts of light, which can be confused as stars to the birds, which are used to guide the birds to their migratory homes and back.
Marshes such as the Tiny Marsh are important for the birds' migration because they provide water, food, habitat for resting in the fall and the spring. In the fall, birds eat a lot of food to prepare for migration. They can actually double their weight before leaving, and they can lose up to 1% of their body weight in an hour for flying. Places such as the Tiny Marsh are crucial for bulking, resting, and preparing for their flight.
After winter down south, the birds return to Canada and will go to places such as the Tiny Marsh to rest and refuel after a long flight. Birds like the Tiny Marsh because it provides water they need to drink and bathe in. The bird boxes we provide a place with them to nest, rest, mate, and reproduce. The bluebirds lay up to 4 to 5 eggs, each egg on a different day most of the time. The birds only start incubating them when all of the eggs are laid. They usually only lay their eggs in the morning, mostly before 9.
Thank you for watching our video on bird migration.